I'm Groot.
What's that?
He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use frickin'.
Look out!
Oh, wow.
I tried, guys.
Chrome2019 coming at you with another movie review. So how you guys doing with yourselves today? We're doing another movie review, and yes, the setup is still the same. I'm still wearing the same hat. I'm still wearing the same shirt, because I'm planning on getting all those reviews for all those movies that I haven't done in a while finally out tonight, and gonna get it all done and get it out of the way. So let's just go ahead and get started. Let's start with the cast, because I never really start with the cast. I always wait until the last minute to start with the cast. So let's go ahead and talk about the cast and the director and overall everything else. So this movie was directed by James Gunn. And he is in charge of making the movies such as the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the Belko Experiment, which is about a bunch of people who pretty much have to kill just to make the bosses like them so they can keep their jobs. And you know what? He does a really good job at making the Guardians of the Galaxy series, and this one was just no shy of it, but impressive, and I really enjoyed it very much. Chris Pratt, who plays a Star-Lord, and you know he's still the sarcastic asshole who likes to dance around and listen to his music from the boombox or whatever that his mom gave him before she died, and he listens to really good old-fashioned music, and he's just an overall funny character overall through the whole entire film. We got Mrs. Zoe Saldana, who plays as Gamora, still sexy, still pretty, still amazing, still badass to the core. I love her character overall, all the time, no matter what, and it was just so good for her to finally return in this movie. And we got Mr. Dave Bautista coming back as Drax. So happy he came back. I didn't think he would do it again, really, but to see a WWE superstar or UFC star, whoever he might be before he even became an actor, to see somebody like that become something like in the Marvel series and stuff like that is just amazing. Like, I was very shocked that he became something as big as Drax. But Drax's, role in this movie was just exactly how everybody wanted it. A sarcastic asshole, not really sarcastic, but more of like a literal asshole who just likes to be, putting in his 2 cents when it doesn't really matter. And it's just funny to see him go at it. And then even in the action scenes, he's just as cool. We also got my favorite all-time voice actor and actor overall. Well, not really overall at favorite actor, but one of my favorite actors overall because he voiced the Iron Giant and Groot from Vol.1, but now he's coming back as Mr. Baby Groot, Mr. Vin Diesel. Mr. Vin Diesel does a great job at freaking Groot, just like he did with the original, and he did a great job with Iron Giant, and he's just an amazing man overall. Am I saying that because he voice acted as Iron Giant? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And then we got Mr. Michael Rooker, who plays as Yondu, who is the adopted father, who helps Star-Lord pretty much grow up and turns him into a Ravager, who is pretty much somebody who scavenges for parts and other things and people so he can get money. And through this relationship of Star-Lord and Yondu, they're not really liking each other because, Yondu at first tried to say that he only picked him up from Earth because he just wanted somebody who could actually squeeze through little small places to help, thief and stuff like that. But the real reality and the truth is that Yondu started finding a love for the kid and also realizing that the father of Star-Lord was not who he expected him to be. Now, I like how this character turned out to be in this movie because it was just really good. I liked it. And then we got Mrs. Karen Gillan, or Gillan, or whoever I think it's Gillian. This is Karen Gillan, plays as Nebula, the sister of Gamora and adopted daughter of Thanos. And she's pretty much a cybernetic alien-type being. She's got all cybernetic organisms and stuff like that. And if she, breaks a bone, it pretty much goes from, this to and straightens out and goes back into the original form that it was. I think she does a really good job at Nebula ever since the first one. And she's still great at Nebula today. And she's just really awesome. She's sassy, she's mean, she's evil. She's just all out great. I just love that character overall. And the relationship between Gamora and her become more of a sisterly bond, which is everything that I actually wanted from these two, to be quite honest. Then we got returning as Rocket, Mr. Bradley Cooper. Now, Mr. Bradley Cooper has a variety of movies he's been in. such as the A-Team, Hangover, and I just love this guy. He's a smartass. He's a loud, obnoxious asshole. He just likes to be an asshole to everybody just because, you know, he's small and he doesn't think anybody's gonna mess with him, and he knows how to make gadgets out of pure nothing but twigs and rocks and stuff like that, and he's just a really cool character still, even till this day. And then we have Mrs. Palm Kelmantief, or Kelmantief. Let's go with Kelmantief, who plays as Mantis, who is very big significance in the movie, probably more towards the middle end or something like that. She doesn't have a really big role at first until like later on, but eventually she starts having a really big role as the movie gets more intense. And then this took me by surprise. We got Mr. Sylvester Stallone coming into this movie. And the thing is, we've known Sylvester Stallone to really to be the guy who makes his solo movies like Rambo and Expendables and all those other movies that he's made by himself. But I never expected him to be in the Marvel Universe. And pretty much his significance in the film is he is a part of a Ravager group that adopted Yondu. And Yondu saw his family, and they all pretty much scavenged everything, robbed everything together for a really long time. And then they broke it off because they just couldn't trust each other. And now Yondu wants to still be, in his eyes, Starhawk's pupil or whatever, and try and impress him, but Starhawk does not like him because he let Star-Lord get away with everything and stealing the Infinity Stone and ripping them off and not getting the payment that they were promised, and he disowns Yondu until the very end of the movie. And, you know, to really see this guy come into this movie was just great. I loved him being in this film overall. Then we have my favorite actor overall. We have Mr. Kurt Russell, who plays as Ego, Star-Lord's father, who has a really, really big role into this entire universe, considering he turns out to be a god, pretty much. And apparently, from what I'm reading here, Mrs. Miley Cyrus also had a role in this movie, and I didn't even know it. But apparently she plays as Mainframe in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 movie. And I have no idea who Mainframe is. I never saw it. I didn't hear it. I even just looked it up, and I am not finding anything on Mainframe. I have no idea what that is. And then we have Mrs. Elizabeth Debicki, and she plays as Kismet, who is a very, very big problem to the Guardians of the Galaxy, because she's like this giant golden bitch who has her own civilization of golden people who are very strict and very easily offended, and they're going after the Guardians because they stole little tiny batteries from this site that they were supposed to protect from this giant monster that they were fighting. Stole the 2 batteries, and they're after them and trying to kill them. And through the process, she meets Yondu and tries to ask him to kill them as well, but Yondu can't do it because secretly he has a love for his little Star-Lord and he doesn't want to admit it, so he wants to protect him, so he just doesn't really do it. But then he gets betrayed by his group of Ravengers who follows a man named Taserface, who is played by Chris Sullivan, and his display of being Taserface is actually really well done. I loved it very much. It was very funny, and very, really, really short-lived, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and talk about the movie. Possible spoilers. Warning right now, if you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't seen the movie yet, go ahead and see it yourself. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray. Go buy it on DVD, go buy it on Blu-ray, whatever one you want to buy it off of. Just go buy it. It's really good. It's really, really well done. Haven't seen the first one? Go see the first one, too. Very well done, too. So, let's go ahead and talk about the movie. As soon as the movie starts off, you get this little tiny conflict between the Guardians and the monsters who are trying to help the Cosmetians, or whatever they are, the golden people, to protect their batteries from this giant monster that's trying to eat them. And they have to try and fight it really hard because it's like, you know, its skin's very thick and they can't really kill it with the weapons that they got. And then Baby Groot's off doing his own little thing, plugging in the stereo and dancing off to the music, introducing that it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And it's just an enjoyable scene just to see overall, just because Baby Groot's just adorable overall. I love Baby Groot, just seeing him dance and be all happy, even though his friends are getting destroyed by this giant tentacle monster. It's pretty funny to watch this through the whole thing. And then you see why the Golden People wanted to kill the Guardians, because like I said, they stole batteries and they go after them, and then they get hurt really bad in the ship. But then they crash land on this planet that they just happen to come across after being saved by Star-Lord's dad, who took off the entire platoon or whatever, the entire battalion pretty much of the golden people that were trying to kill them in just one blow with like a bunch of lightning that pretty much chained off into every single ship and blew it all up. And then introduces himself to Star-Lord to say, hey, I'm your dad. And it's been a long time. I've been meaning to see you, but I haven't been able to. I've been a god, and I have to do my own thing, and yada, yada, yada. Star-Lord's like, wait, you're a god? Does that mean I'm part god? And then he goes to his dad's planet, who apparently he is a part of. He is a planet, and tells Star-Lord that there's so much more to him than he thinks. And then, the father and son bonding process begins. Off on a different part, Rocket and Nebula and Baby Groot are off doing their own thing, while Gamora and Star-Lord and Drax and Mantis are out doing their own thing with Ego and Star-Lord, trying to figure out why Ego's so, nice and stuff like that, and why the planet that they're on is so paradoxical and lovely and amazing. Rocket and them have their own problems with trying to escape the Ravagers because they just got hired by those golden people. And they get captured by the Ravagers, and so on and so forth. Yondu gets knocked out by Nebula, who takes charge of the Ravagers for a minute, and then leaves just because she's just trying to get back home so she can kill her dad Thanos, and so on and so forth. Yondu and Rocket become friends at the last minute in prison, and they escape thanks to the help of Baby Groot. And they try and find a way to get to Quill as fast as possible to try and warn him that his father isn't all what they say, because Yondu knows his father and he doesn't. So eventually Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, eventually finds out why his dad is so godlike and why he has waited so long to finally show his face to Star-Lord, and reveals to Star-Lord that he has special powers, and Star-Lord taps into those powers a little bit. And then Ego, that's his name, his father's name, Ego, tells Star-Lord that he's the reason why Peter's mom died from a tumor of cancer in her brain. Peter did not like that news at all, so he started shooting at his father, and him and his father started fighting, and his father pretty much forced him to be part of this new world. The Yondu and Rocket come out of nowhere and save the day and crash into Ego, and next thing you know, you see Mantis, Drax, Nebula, Gamora, Rocket, and Yondu coming together as one giant group of Guardians of the Galaxy, fighting off Ego, who is just a giant planet shooting off fucking tentacles of plasma and rock and whatever, trying to stop him from hurting people, which he set up these little plants on each planet that he's visited since the time where Peter was pretty much born and his mom died, so that way he can pretty much prepare to wipe up all the civilizations just so he can start off anew. And Peter and the Guardians stop him in the process of putting a bomb into his brain. That heads forth the scene where don't press this button is very well known in memes and on the news and on Facebook and so on and so forth. And it's just an overall epic action scene, just a giant war scene. And on top of that, we got the golden people coming into play who still want to kill the Guardians since we're taking little batteries. And, they have to deal with both that and Ego at the same time. But it's mostly on Star-Lord to figure out that he has more potential in his power and taps into that power to fight his father while the Guardians fight off the Golden People. They eventually find a way to destroy Ego on the inside, and they do that with the help of Baby Groot. But in the process, Yondu helps Star-Lord get off the planet after killing his father, but only through the help of a jetpack and some shielding body armor that helps keep the oxygen inside, saving Star-Lord but not himself, and then revealing to Star-Lord that, he might have been your father, but he wasn't your dad. And I'm sorry I didn't do it right, but I'm happy you're my boy. And that's for showing Star-Lord that his dad was with him his whole entire life. Also revealing that his whole life, he always dreamt of his dad being a David Hasselhoff. And after all this time, he finally saw that he actually ended up getting David Hasselhoff as his father. And then eventually, the Ravagers from all over the world hear about Yondu's death. And the beginning, Sylvester Stallone's Ravager character told Yondu that the horns of whatever will not play at your funeral when you die. But then they actually do play at his funeral when he dies, and everybody respects Yondu for his sacrifice. And pretty much everybody just lives happily ever after, or so we think. So what do I rate this movie all out of 10? It was so well done. The story was really well done. I had an emotional bond to the characters overall. I loved it overall. You know what? This movie also gets a 10 out of 10. go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 if you haven't already. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you thought of Volume 2. Did you like it better than Volume 1, or did you like Volume 1 better than Volume 2? Just let me know in the comments. Be respectful of everybody else. Be respectful to me. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.
We gonna fall, then we let it pop, don't let it go. Come on, X gon' give it to ya, he gon' give it to ya, X gon' give